Today I'm going to talk about the widow's penalty, and this definitely isn't one of the most fun subjects, but it is something important, especially for retirees to think about and hopefully try to mitigate it some. So most people might expect that when a spouse dies, the only financial challenge or the biggest financial challenge that they're going to have to think about is the loss of that person's income. But that's only half the story. Many surviving spouses experience a second hit, what I call the double whammy. They not only lose the income, but at the same time, the tax code becomes less favorable for them. And while planners refer to it as the widow's penalty, it isn't an actual penalty given out by the government or the IRS, but it sure does feel like one because they're seeing higher taxes and these tax bracket shifts become less favorable for them. And in addition to that, the Medicare or those IRMA surcharges also can increase. And I'm going to save IRMA for a different day. That's a whole nother subject. But let's think about it this way. A couple books a cruise, right? One of the travelers can't come. And instead of getting what we would love to see happen, a half price for the remaining traveler, the cruise line looks at it and says, you're still going on the same ship, you're still taking up the same cabin, we're still using the same amount of gas, and yes, you're consuming less food now because there's only one of you, but many of those static charges still remain the same. And that's kind of what the widow's penalty is like. It happens because when you're married, when you think about those tax brackets, you're in the tax bracket, which is called marrying, filing jointly is how most people might file it. And when you become suddenly single, you now get moved into that single tax bracket. At the same time, you're going to lose some income, right? So if you had two Social Securities, you'll lose one of them. Not sure on the pension, that's very individual how that would play out. But some of the really big portions of that income, like the RMDs or the income being produced by the portfolio, that doesn't change at all. And so the income remains almost the same, but the tax bracket it's being put into has changed. So there are some things that can be done. The best time to plan for this widow's penalty is like with most things, right? Plan before it happens. Being prepared ahead can help preserve some income, reduce the taxes, and provide a greater financial confidence for that surviving spouse. So what are some of the techniques that could be used to do that? It's a little bit of a mind shift. One is you don't always want to pay the least amount of taxes possible. If you're in a favorable tax bracket and you've still got some room in that tax bracket, let's go ahead and use that up. Maybe do some Roth conversions. Also, if you've got money that you know is going to go to the beneficiaries that the spouse can never use it, maybe some of that IRA money should be shifted over to the kids a little bit early. You know, these are decisions to make as far as estate and legacy planning. And then also if there is room for life insurance, since that's a tax-free asset. So the truth is, you know, the loss of a spouse is so emotional, and it's just one of those times that we wish that there was something different that we can do. And we can't prevent that from happening, but we can take steps to ensure that that surviving spouse is prepared, protected, and positioned to move forward and know that they're working with a trusted partner like us. So if you would like to get together and talk about this widow's penalty, give the office a call or we'll talk about it at an upcoming review.